happy Monday. I am so glad you are joining me. If you are tuning in tonight, please share the video. I do a draw every week for the projects we're going to make tonight. For everybody that shares, give me lots of thumbs up and hearts if you like what you're seeing. I really like to interact with you, and don't forget to comment. Like I said, I like to interact with you when we're going through this, so be sure to let me know what you're thinking and how your day is going and all of that good stuff. I'm super excited. Not only do I get to craft with you tonight, but I had 2 boxes drop off literally before I hit the live button. I haven't opened them yet. I don't know if it's my new catalog pre-order or if it's class orders, so I'm gonna unbox them. And normally I would switch over and do it on my other camera, but since I'm set up to craft, I'm just going to open them beside me here and hold up what's inside. If you are a demonstrator, you are able to place orders ahead of the new catalog going live to customers. And so I've placed my pre-order and I'm waiting for that to arrive. So this is actually a card kit that I ordered. This is actually a prize for a giveaway I recently did with some other small businesses here in the Hamilton area. We partnered. There was...
I didn't get that. Can you try again?
Apparently I said something that Siri liked. There were 7 or 8 of us that partnered together, and we had 3 grand prizes, and so my contribution to that was an all-inclusive card kit. So the lucky winner is going to get this. It's the Hello Dear Friend card kit, and I will be sending that off to them very shortly. So that's exciting. So let's see what's in the other box. Oh, I hope this is my pre-order. I am anxiously awaiting for it to arrive. I can't wait to start crafting with new supplies and the new in colors, which are beautiful. Guess what? It's my pre-order. So I'm not going to show you too much, but I will show you the new in colors because they're just stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. All right, let me move this out of the way. So the first one we have is Polished Pink. Look at that pink color. I mean, how amazing is that? I'm trying not to get the glare on there. Isn't that pretty? Love it. Next is Evening Evergreen. Again, sorry not to get the light on there. So it is a dark green. It's kind of bluey green. We have Fresh Freesia, which is a beautiful purple. Soft Succulent, which looks just like a succulent. It's fantastic. And Pale Papaya, and I have a feeling I will be using a lot of this. It's a peachy orange. So there are the new in colors, which will be available for you to order starting on May 4th. I cannot wait to craft with those. So of course, in those colors, I also have my inks. So all 5 colors of inks. I have Stampin' Blends in all of those colors. There's ribbons. Look at this ribbon. Isn't that pretty? Oh, so awesome. Oh, here's some cute little bling. So these are little epoxy droplets. These are also in the new catalog. What else do I want to show? Ooh, how about those? Oh yeah, those are fantastic. And I think that's all I'm going to show you. I don't want to ruin it. I want you to be just as surprised when you open up this beautiful new catalog as I was. And trust me, there's going to be a lot that you want to have. If you are in Canada and you're not currently working with a demonstrator and you need a copy of the catalog, drop me a PM, send me an email, whatever works for you with your address, and I will get one out to you. Because if you're like me, you want to have it in your hot little hand so you can highlight and dog your pages and do all of that fun stuff. But let's get to why we're here. Let's get crafting. I'm going to flip the camera around so we can get started. And hopefully you can hear me. Thanks for sharing, Sonia and Pat. Laura Polish Pink is absolutely breathtaking. I am so excited to play with it. Honestly, I can't wait. I think when I'm done my live tonight, I will be playing with some of my new goodies. So tonight I'm focusing again on some of the retired products. So I have Ridiculously Awesome. This is a stamp set that is on the last chance list. It's still available. It was designed by Rhonda Wade, who is a demonstrator in the US when she hit $1 million in sales. So one of the perks of being a demonstrator is when you achieve things like this, Stampin' gives back and you get a tour of the home office and you get to create your own stamp set and work with design or concept design artists, and just it's a whole experience. And so this was the stamp set that Rhonda came up with. And I love all the mixed media fonts. One of my favorite things is mixed media. So I'm super happy with this set. And I'm sad to say that it's going. I think it will likely be one I hang on to for a little bit, despite the fact that it's retiring. So I have one card tonight with this set, and then I'm going to show you another set. And I wanted to actually use this designer series paper. This is actually one of the papers from the Butterfly Bouquet product suite that was released with the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and Brilliant Wings dies. And of course there was the beautiful Butterfly Bijou Dsp that sold out already. This is the first time I've used this paper. I hadn't even opened it prior to playing with it tonight. And I have to tell you, the texture is super neat. It's almost like a really thick vellum. It's not a regular paper. It's so cool. And I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's actually texture to the paper. So you can see that they've almost embossed some of the wood grain in there. It's super, super fun, and it's still available. And then the other side, it's not quite wood grain, but there is still some of that texture to it. So I was glad to play with it and see what I could come up with. And so I came up with this, and I like it, but I'm not in love with it. So I'm going to try and dress it up a little bit when we're making our card tonight. And I tried to use some colors that I don't use a lot of, and that's Mary Merlot. So I'm using the Mary Merlot as my base. It's an 8.5 by 5.5, so it's a standard A2 card. I'm going to fold that in half. Of course, I like to burnish my edges. Aw, thanks, Debbie. I'm sure some of the regulars will have heard me say that I don't love it. It's not what I wanted. It's growing on me, but it's definitely shorter than I had hoped. I'm a big fan of wash and go, and unfortunately, because of how short it is, I can't wash and go. Otherwise, it sticks up and I look like a porcupine. But I'm getting used to it, and it's hair. It'll grow back. But I appreciate you saying you like it. So the next is Early Espresso, and I do use this often. It's a great neutral, and apparently I miscut that, so let's trim that. So this piece should be 4 inches by 5.25. I'm not sure what I cut that to. And it's going to layer right on top of our Mary Merlot. And then our DSP is 3 3/4 by 5. It's going to layer on top of our Early Espresso, but I have our Espresso Faux Suede ribbon that we're going to apply first. And here's where I want to dress things up. So these are the antique corners and slides, which are also retiring. And I want to use 2 of these just on opposite corners here, just to kind of dress it up a little bit. So I need to figure out where those are going to go before I can stick my ribbon down. So I know that I need it to go about there. So now if I hold that ribbon in place, and flip my DSP over, I can put my bead of adhesive along the back to hold those ends in place. And now I can attach that to the front of my card. Actually, it's not straight, so I'm just going to pull this off and fix that. There we go. Sticking to my finger. All right, so now let's stick this down to our card. This is going to stick right to our early espresso. Give it a good rub. And then we're going to use our multi-purpose glue to attach our antique corners, which I'm just going to grab. Like I said, I didn't love my sample that I created earlier for you today. So I wanted to try and dress it up just a little bit. And I think these antique corners are just the ticket. So I don't want a ton of glue because I don't want it squirting out. And I'm just going to put those in the corners. You might have to hold them for a minute for the glue to take hold. There we go. So again, with the other side. Right in the corner. Hi, Nancy. So there is our base. So now for our stamping, we're just going to stamp on basic white. I don't think I have a scrap quite big enough, so I'm going to grab a piece here. And so I'm using the Make Today Ridiculously Awesome, and I'm going to use Mary Merlot so that we're tying it together with our card base. I'm just going to ink that up. Make sure that we've got good coverage, and then I'm just going to stamp on the basic white and lift off. I'm going to close my ink pad because you know me, I'll stick my finger in it. And then I'm going to use the stitched nested dies, which again are on the retiring list, to cut this out. So these dies are awesome because it not only cuts it, but it does put this little bead of stitching around it. So it makes it look like, well, like that. So let's pull in, this is the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And to use this, obviously this isn't going to fit, so I'm just going to trim my cardstock here. A general rule of thumb is the mini likes about a 3-inch width. So anything wider than that, it's really not going to fit well. So then I'm going to grab my pleats. Throw that on there. And it should fit perfectly around the sentiment that you've stamped. Crank that through the machine. Sometimes I swear I need 8 hands. If it's not going through, you sometimes just need to layer your plates a little bit, like stagger them, and then it will catch. So it just cranks through. When it comes out the other side, it has cut out your greeting, put that lovely stitching on there. But of course we want to make it look sort of distressed and weathered. So I'm going to pull in an early espresso ink pad to coordinate with our paper. And a sponge dauber, which I thought I had out and now I can't find it. So I've labeled all my sponge daubers so that I don't mix my colors. So I'm just going to dab that on my ink pad, and you can dab it off on your scrap paper first if you want, And then I'm just going to rub it across the edges just to give it that distressed, weathered sort of look. And what I like about this card is it would be great for anyone, masculine, feminine. It doesn't really have any indicators to say it's geared towards one person or another. It's very gender neutral. And masculine cards tend to be what people struggle with the most, so this would be a great option. So then to attach that to our base, we're going to use Stampin Dimensionals. And if you've never used Stampin Dimensionals before, it's just a double-sided adhesive piece of foam, and it lifts the piece that you're using off the base to give it dimension, hence the name. So they just peel off the back, and then you're going to peel off the paper back from each little hexagon. And we're going to stick that right to our base above the ribbon. And there we have the first card. And don't those antique corners just dress it up and make it a little more special? I totally love those. They're so easy to use and they make a huge impact. So that's our first card. So I'm just going to tidy up those items, and then I'm going to show you our second project, which is using the Rooted in Nature stamp set. And this set is also on the last chance list. I have mixed emotions about this one. This was the stamp set that replaced Stampin' Up's longest selling stamp set, Lovely as a Tree. Lovely as a Tree was actually one of the first stamp sets I bought when I started stamping many, many years ago. And, you know, I was heartbroken when Lovely as a Tree retired, but thought I'll give Rooted in Nature a try, and now it's retiring, so I have some mixed emotions over it. All right, so all right, I think I have everything put aside that I needed to put aside. So let me show you the card we're going to make. So it's actually in cello because this card was made a long time ago, but it's a cute one. So there's some retired elements on there where I'm just going to change them out and show you how to make that. So we're going to start with a very vanilla base. And again, 8.5 by 5.5. Fold that in half. And I haven't cut everything for this, so we'll do that as well. So next I want to pull in that Merry Merlot again. And I'm going to make this one, I think 2.25 inches by 4. Laura, yeah, it's not one that I go to a lot, but you're right. When you do actually use it, it's so pretty. I really should use it more often. And then this is Mossy Meadow, so I'm going to cut this one to be 5. I'm going to start with 5 inches, and then I can always go shorter by 2 inches. So let's see. Yeah, I think I want to take another 1/4 inch off that. So I'm making this 4 3/4 by 2. Yes. Okay. I'm going to put my trimmer to the side. And the Merry Merlot, that can actually get attached right to your base. We're not stamping on that. So go ahead and use your Stampin' Seal. And we're going to put that at the bottom of the card. Give it a good rub. And then just put that to the side because we are going to stamp on the Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to pull in the large leaf image here. And you can see that it's been a while since I've used these, and I don't think I've actually used all of the images in this set. And this is a clear mount set. This is not a cling. So you'll notice I don't have the stickers on this one. And that's because I found with the old clear mount sets, the stamps didn't stay. They kind of, like they fall off the blocks. They wouldn't stick to the blocks well. So that's why they're not stickers. So I've got Mossy Meadow ink. We're going to do tone on tone here. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp ever so lightly on the Mossy Meadow, and just spin your stamps around. They don't have to be the same direction. We're really just creating a very light background. And I actually think my ink pad could use some re-inking because that's super light and I didn't stamp off at all, but I actually like that effect. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to close up the ink pad for the time being. And this is going to get attached right over top of the Merry Merlot and the Very Vanilla, leaving about a 1/2 inch gap on the left side. Laurel, you'll have to create something using Very Vanilla as a base and then share it with us so we can see what you come up with. Get you using it. All right, so now that we've got our base assembled, we're going to do some stamping of the big center tree image. And I need, let's see, we're going to use that block. So I'm going to stamp, this is going to be tone on tone, so we're going to use Crumb Cake here. Laura, you should case the card, absolutely. This is another great card that's sort of gender neutral. You could use it for just about anyone. So I'm going to stamp Crumb Cake ink on Crumb Cake cardstock. So there's our tree. And what I like about this set is it does have like the lines of the tree inside, but it does have some imperfections to it, which just makes it seem that much more authentic, like a real tree. And so we're going to cut that out. There are coordinating dies to this stamp set. This is the Nature's Roots dies. And I thought there was the big tree, but there is not. So here's the dies. You can see that you've got the leaves, both detailed and the silhouette. The trees, the only thing it doesn't have is that big stump. Sometimes they're on the back, but this one doesn't have that, so that's okay. We can fussy cut, which is probably better because then I don't have to pull out the die cutting machine again. So when I am fussy cutting, I like to use the smallest piece of cardstock possible, which is why I'm trimming it. I'm just going to put that to the side. And I also like to leave a little bit of a border. If you like to have it tight against the stamped image, by all means. So we're just going to trim this with our paper snips. There's a couple little notches that I'm going to try and make sure that I cut like this one, just to get those imperfections And you could have stamped this on Very Vanilla as well. I just like the tone on tone of the crumb cake on the crumb cake. So this is going to get attached. It's kind of going to overlap this intersection of the Merry Merlot and the Mossy Meadow. So we're going to use dimensionals here, which of course escaped me. And one in the middle for good luck here. Okay. Like so. All right, so then you'll notice on my sample, I have this, it's almost like a hemp ribbon. That no longer exists, so I don't want to use that. I'm going to use this instead. It's a Very Vanilla color. It's from the, oh, I want to say Magnolia, but don't quote me on that. Actually, let me grab my catalog and I'll tell you exactly where it's from. I have so many ribbons, it's hard to keep track of what all their names are. Pat, Lovely as a Tree is, it was one of my all-time favorite sets, and I still have mine. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. It's still in the old wood mount plastic cases, those clear ones that didn't really store well. That's how old my stamp set is. All right. So it's the Forever Greenery trim combo pack that this ribbon we're using is from. And that combo pack is also on the retiring list. It's got beautiful gold is the other spool that comes in that pack. I love that gold. I am actually completely out of it because I use it so much. So I've cut this much longer than what we need. Oh no, Pat, that's so sad. That's heartbreaking. Pat had a fire, and unfortunately Lovely as a Tree was lost in that fire. Oh, my heart is crushed for you. All right. So we are going to attach our ribbon, but what I want to do is, this is the Mossy Meadow linen trim. And so I'm going to tie that around the Very Vanilla here. And I'm going to tie it in a knot, but I want it to be a loose knot because I don't want the Very Vanilla to do that. So maybe if I attach this first. Yeah, let's try this. So I'm going to use the liquid glue here just because, no, I changed my mind. Don't listen to that. I'm going to use my seal and run it all the way across just like so. You can see that on the camera. Because I think that's going to help this lay flat. There we go. Okay, so it's puckering a little bit. That's okay. And then now that it's stuck down, I can trim off the excess along the side here. And I can trim off the edge of my Mossy Meadow. And what I like about that Mossy Meadow twine is you can stretch it out to create this cool kind of netted look. So we're going to do that. All right, so we're not quite done. We have our greeting to stamp still. So let's do that. We're going to do that on Very Vanilla once again. And we're going to use the Be Strong, Be Happy, Be You. All right, and I'm going to grab a smaller block for this one. And again, clear mount as opposed to cling didn't stick to my block with the label on there, so that's why we're doing it with that. And we are going to stamp this in the Mossy Meadow, assuming that I can get it inked well enough. I think I need to re-ink my ink pad, or I do have an extra, I think. Thought I had 2 of those, but maybe not. Oh, I do. Hang on. Let's see if this one's any better. Mental note, add Mossy Meadow re-inker to my next order. Oh, that one is much better. All right, let's do this. I can live with that. And we're going to cut this out. So on the original, I have it just as a square, but I think I'm going to cut them all out individually. I just want it to be dry before I try that. So again, I like to use the smallest piece possible. And I like to leave a little bit of trim. So are any of you affected by the Ontario government announcement today that schools will be going to remote learning? I have 3 kids. My twins are 16, and high schools have been mostly remote anyways. But my youngest is 11 and in grade 6, and she will be going to remote full-time, which she's really not happy about. Luckily, my husband and I have jobs that we've always worked from home, even prior to the pandemic. So it's we're fortunate to be able to be home, but at the same time we're working, so we don't have time to necessarily focus on her, but she needs to be with her friends. We saw how bad it was for her the first time around, and it just, my heart breaks for them. She was almost in tears today, just, you know, with the stay-at-home orders and not being able to hang out with her friends, and now not being able to see them at school next week. Ugh. It's going to be a rough couple of weeks for everyone. So if you have young kids at home, I totally relate and I feel for you. Yeah, Pat, it's not a good situation any way you look at it, whether parents or kids, or, you know, I feel for the kids, their mental health is definitely taking a hit, but parents too. You know, they're worried for their kids. They're trying to do their jobs. You know, daycare is an issue. It's just, there's no good scenario here. So because these pieces are so narrow, I am going to cut the edge of my dimensionals to pop these up. Yeah, Laura, it really has. I mean, it's been a hard year for everyone, but the kids, they don't understand, and it's so heartbreaking. My older 2 were pretty good with it all. They're teenagers, so they're not really hanging out. They're on their phones, they're video gaming, doing that. But yeah, the younger ones are just, it's so hard. All right, so I'm just cutting my dimensionals to pop these off, and then I'm going to attach them. So if you have dimensionals and you use up all the little hexagons, don't throw out your scraps. Use the edges, create your own dimensionals, or by all means invest in the mini dimensionals. I just ran out and my order with them hasn't come in yet. So this is actually a good card. Be strong. If you were just to cut that out, that would be a good one given our current climate and what everybody's going through. I think it's a good reminder for everybody. There's never been a more important time to reach out and let people know you're thinking of them. And, you know, a handmade card is a great way to do that. All right, so be strong. Be happy. Be you. So there we have our second card using Rooted in Nature. You use both sizes and still use the edges? Yeah. Waste not, want not, in my opinion. Back when you had to assemble all your stamps on the wood blocks before we had clear blocks, and yes, I've been around Stampin' Up! That long, the little bits of rubber, like this, they were sticky on the back side. Because you had to like peel and stick them onto wood melt blocks, and I would cut the little bits of rubber and use those as dimensionals. I didn't waste anything. You made 50 tea pouches on the weekend and mailing them out. Wow, good for you. That's awesome. I'd love to see those. Feel free to share and tag me so I can see what those look like. So there are our cards for tonight. And I've created a disaster in here again. It's par for the course. I'm going to flip my camera back around. Oops. And not forget to unmute. So what did you think of those cards? Did you love them? They're so fun, so easy to create. They're great for a variety of individuals, which is awesome. Yeah, I think that's about it for me tonight. I have Stampin' Bingo coming up in June with new catalog details. I have a Bogo Sale. Ooh, that's what I wanted to tell you all about. I do a Bogo Sale at least once a year, if not twice, where I clear out my retired products, some from this year, some from previous years. And when you buy the retired product, you earn that amount that you spend on new catalog products. So you're actually getting like 2 for 1. You're going to get new catalog product and the retired product that you choose from the sale, and it's going to be awesome. I have tons and tons of stamp sets and dies and punches. I think I actually have whole packs of old designer series papers that I've never opened. So stay tuned for those details. It will all be online because obviously COVID, we can't gather. So I will be putting up a group that you can be added to on Facebook. I'll post the instructions for how the sale is going to work. And then when the sale goes live, I will post all the products and you'll be able to not necessarily bid on them, but put in your name to say that you want that product, and it will be a first come first serve type of event. So stay tuned for that. I hope to have that up in the next couple of days, and then you can request access to the group so that when the sale goes live, you are in and ready to go. So I think that's it. If you decide to place an order with me for $35 or more before Friday, which is the 16th, and you use this host code over my shoulder here, you will automatically get the supplies to make the cards we made tonight, and you'll also earn any of the other Inkblots rewards that you qualify for. Check out my website, www.inkspireme.com/rewards for a full list of the reward program details. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.